On November 17, 1978, four Speedway Burger Chef workers vanished at closing. By morning the store was cleaned and no photographs existed. Who took them out the back door? Jane Friedt was 20, the assistant manager. Daniel Davis and Mark Flemmonds were 16. Ruth Ellen Shelton was 17. They were closing the Speedway Burger Chef at 5725 Crawfordsville Road on a Friday night. Flemmonds was not even on the schedule. He was covering someone else's shift, a detail. Investigators later treated as possibly fatal if a robber had not expected his face. Between 11 p.m. and midnight the four were gone. A co-worker, Brian Kring, stopped by at midnight to visit and found an empty restaurant, an open safe, and the back door standing open. Trash containers sat just inside, as if the run to the dumpster had been interrupted. About $581 was missing. More than 100 in coins stayed in the registers. 2 empty currency bags and a roll of tape sat by the safe. Management's first report sounded like a small inside theft. Kids grabbing cash to party. Women's purses and jackets were still there, which should have killed that theory faster than it died. Friedt's white 1974 Vega turned up in town Saturday. Partly locked, passenger door not secured. No useful evidence inside. By then the dining room had already been wiped. Speedway police let the business reopen. Officer Buddy Elwanger, later assigned, said they screwed it up from the beginning. No photographs. No preserved floor. Sunday afternoon, hikers walked into woods more than 20 miles away in Johnson County and found all four. Davis and Shelton had been shot several times with a .38. Friedt had been stabbed twice in the chest. The handle had snapped off and was missing. The blade recovered at autopsy. Flemmonds had been beaten, possibly with a chain, and died choking on his own blood. They were still in uniform. Watches and money were still on them, a detail that undercuts a clean robbery motive. Someone wanted them gone more than they wanted their cash. The knife handle, the gun, and the chain never came in. A 16-year-old told police he saw 2 white men in their 30s in a car outside just before closing. One had a beard. The other was fair-haired and clean-shaven. Clay models were built. A Greenwood bar later produced a man who bragged, then passed a polygraph, then named a fast food robbery crew. One man who resembled the bearded composite shaved the night before a lineup after wearing a beard for years. Associates later went to prison for other restaurant robberies. No confession stuck. No print tied them to Crawfordsville Road. Speedway had other shocks that year, a bombing series and another murder. Those files later separated. This one did not close. The working idea became a robbery that went wrong when someone inside knew someone outside. Flemmonds, the unscheduled face, is the name detectives float in that sentence. If the crew expected 3 workers and got a 4th who could identify them, the math changes from theft to witness elimination. That remains a theory. It fits the mixed killing methods, the short cash take, and the decision to drive more than 20 miles. It does not name the men in the car. It does not recover the handle. It does explain why a register with coins was not worth staying to empty. In 1984, Detective Mel Wilsey got a call from Donald Forrester at Pendleton. Forrester said he would confess to avoid a transfer to a harsher prison. He told Wilsey he shot Davis and Shelton. He walked investigators through the woods and correctly placed the bodies. He knew the handle had broken, a fact not widely printed. He said Friedt's brother owed drug money, that the crew came to threaten her, that Flemmonds stepped in, hit his head on a car bumper, and that they then killed everyone who had seen it. He named 3 other men. He pointed to a river where he said the gun went. Divers found nothing. Wilsey interviewed Forrester's ex-wife. She said shortly after the murders he drove her to woods and picked up shell casings, then flushed them. A warrant for the house septic tank recovered spent .38 casings. Then someone inside the sheriff's office leaked that Forrester was cooperating. He recanted and called the confession coerced. Without his testimony and without a gun, prosecutors did not charge him for the 4 deaths. He died of cancer in prison in 2006, 55 years old. Ken York, an original investigator, later noted that other named men died in convenient windows after a related robber was released. Suspicious timing is not a verdict. It is another untested line in an open file. Every later lead has to live with the first 24 hours. No photos. A mopped floor. A reopened register. Buddy Ellwanger's sentence is the department's own review. Burger Chef put up $25,000. Indiana State Police still list the case. They have talked about DNA tools that did not exist in 1978. The knife handle is still the object they ask the public to imagine in a drawer somewhere. Until it, or the .38, or a living confession that survives a leak, Speedway's closing shift stays a quadruple homicide without a defendant. In 2018, the town planted 4 red oaks for the 4 workers, and added a marble bench at Leonard Park when donations overshot the goal in a day. Plaques carry short biographies of Friedt, Davis, Flemmonds, and Shelton. The building that had become a Cashland pawn shop, the old restaurant shell on Crawfordsville Road, came down in 2024. Documentaries keep arriving. None of them can restore a Saturday that was spent mopping, instead of collecting fingerprints. The park is what Speedway can still do. The charging document is what it cannot. They were found in the clothes they closed in, still in Burger Chef uniforms with money and watches on them. That image is the one investigators still use when they say this was not a random highway dumping of strangers. It was a crew removed from a Friday night shift and driven out of Marion County into Johnson County woods. The mixed weapons, gun, knife, blunt object, look like panic, not a single ritual. Panic fits Forrester's fight at the bumper story. Panic also fits unnamed men from the closing time car. The file holds both and endorses neither in court. For workers, an open safe with coins left behind. A store mopped and reopened before a camera clicked. A knife handle that never came home, a .38 that was never logged, a chain that was never tagged. Donald Forrester died in 2006 without a murder charge. Indiana State Police still keep the 4 Speedway murders open today, and have talked about newer DNA tools that 1978 did not have on the books. If you want the next case built the same way, documents first, and no invented ending, stay with that rule. Subscribe if you want the next case broken down the same way.